Hello, and welcome back to the Living Internet Alliance podcast. This podcast was a space recorded on X on Wednesday, November 26th. The topic of this space in this podcast is monetizing in the creator economy, even with a small following. And we had the privilege of my good friend Nick Sweeney, who has a 250,000 follower audience on Instagram and a 30K plus a month business through his breathwork app and different coaching programs in his ecosystem to join us in this space and offer some really profound insights. So, Nick was in the space for about the first 25 minutes. He had to go, the space cut off, and we reconsolidated, reorganized, and had a really great conversation with some direct questions from the audience for the next hour and a half. So we think you're really going to get some value out of this space. And we also want to let you know that through December 1st, there is a 50% off discount window for tickets for the Creator Economy Convention. This convention is happening in June 2026 and will feature speakers like myself, my name's Jack, Dan Coe, Brian Meyerhofer, Talon Simmons, Kieran Drew, Kimmy Anora, Dan Goldfield, and many more. So if you want to secure your ticket for the lowest ever price at 50% off all different tiers, the time to do so is now. You can find the link below called thelivinginternet.com to secure your ticket. And you can also find the link to join our free circle community to stay updated on the event and connect with other like-minded creators in the creator economy. So without further ado, let's hop right into the episode. Hello. What's up, Eric? We got Nick Sweeney in the house. What's going on? Hope you guys are having a nice, productive, energizing, on mission type of morning. See, we got some more people filing in here. Hello, Noah. Hello, Apollo. Matt. Good morning. Good afternoon, wherever you're at. Hope you guys are having a good day so far. Waiting here for some of the other convention speakers to come in. And as I say that, Jesse pops in. Hello, Jesse. And we already got Apollo requesting to speak. So I see no reason why not to invite some people up to speak. If you want to come up to the panel and join this discussion, we would love your insights and your inputs and your questions. And there's probably some people in here. I don't know if Nick Sweeney is actually available to speak, but Nick would have a lot of insight on this topic of monetizing in the creator economy. And me and Nick probably have a pretty similar philosophy here in terms of we went the audience first, product second approach. Now that's only one way to do it. There's a lot different ways to do it. But Nick just requested to speak as well. So while Nick's coming up here, Apollo, hello, nice to meet you. I've been seeing you on the timeline, man. How are you doing?
Hello, guys. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hi, I just got out of an emotional therapy session, and before that, I was helping set up the Thanksgiving dinner table. And
Amazing.
I'm really blessed and grateful that you put together this call. Because and you can cut me off. You have my blessing too if I start rambling. But I've actually been really frustrated with trying to grow my personal brand. I've been in a bit of a personal branding identity crisis. And also, not to be a gossip, but Launch so the Nick Rogers, the guy who runs Launch Socials, for some inexplicable reason blocked me on Instagram, even though I made it clear I want to work with him. So I guess I'm not gonna work with him, but it is what it is. I am just doing what I can and doing my best to balance all my priorities. And shout out to Nick Sweeney and his brother for real, for the breathwork app
Legends.
they put together, because that is helping me stay grounded. And Jesse, I see you're here too. Really, all of you guys, I'm blessed to know, even if it's just a tiny bit and virtually. So I'm grinding, but just trying to not let the gears get stopped. I And sorry.
No, you're good. We appreciate your authenticity and your vulnerability. And
Thank you. I got to channel that in healthier ways still, and then eventually, I'm confident I'll find a way to monetize it.
for sure. And the monetization clarity, and we can go deep into this in this call, but for me, that didn't really emerge until I was already in the space for 3 months. And I really didn't monetize at a high level or make a full-time living for 6 months. So it is a process, it takes time. Um, I mean, your
Yeah.
profile is pretty dope. Like your bio's sweet, like your banner, your image, all of it is super cool. I think the biggest thing
Thank
is
you.
just start creating consistently. Like it has to become a part of your identity
Yes.
that you create every single day. You're not a consumer. You can be a fan of Nick, you could be a fan of whoever else it is, but you have to put your own creativity and your creations first. That's the biggest identity shift to make.
You're correct, and I could go on and pontificate all day about that, but I need to carve out space in my offline reality to quote unquote do the work. And
Correct. I just posted a YouTube video about this. It's called 2 hours in the morning is all it takes to succeed. And I just
yeah,
basically went into, when I started off, like I talked about, it took me 3 months to monetize. It took me 6 months to, or sorry, 3 months to gain clarity on monetizing, 6 months to monetize. At that time, I was in college. It was very hard in college. There's a lot of commitments and
yeah,
obligations. I was driving DoorDash at night to make money, but I set this non-negotiable with myself that I'm going to wake up earlier than everybody else and do the thing because I know where it's leading me. So that video might light a fire in you to say, okay, like it's non-negotiable. 2 hours every morning, I'm doing this.
you're not the first content creator, Jack, to suggest that. I actually brought this up with my therapist as well, but Dan Coe, who Jesse knows personally, Dan Coe has a video that I keep coming back to about his $1 million morning routine, and it boils down to walking for 30 minutes and riding for 90. And without getting too personal here, funny enough, because I'm talking personal branding, but my 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 own therapist now is going to hold me to account, so I'm going to post about that, and I'm going to write it out because you and Mr. Co are couldn't be more correct
Fuck
with
yeah. Go
to
for it.
writing your thoughts, and that being the energetic foundation for this sort of thing.
Let's go. I think, sharing those vulnerabilities, and we could probably all speak on it. It's super empowering for you. It's not for anybody else, but like especially behind an anonymous account, like there's really nothing to fear. Put your thoughts out there, put the experiences. I wrote about mental health, my own experiences in therapy, and people will resonate that, but it's not about them resonating with it. It's about you finding the freedom within yourself to speak your authentic truth online. And I think Nick would be able to give some great insight on this. Um, I'm trying to think of where we should frame the question. So, Nick, since you're here, I'm curious to know and hear your path from the beginning because you, like Apollo, started off as an anonymous account, writing about what you're interested in. And then fast forward 2 years later, now you've grown a huge audience on Instagram and you're monetizing in various different ways. So, would you want to give the listeners to everybody in the space and then everybody who's listening on the podcast a little bit of insight into your story?
Yeah. Sorry if you hear my brother's Agartha edit in the background or his laugh. He's about to drop some serious heat on the timeline.
No.
um, I mean, I was an anonymous account, which gave me so much freedom to find my voice because I just had a mask. Um, and I think that it's very powerful for anyone who wants to build a brand to start on X. Like, you guys are in the right place to start a brand on X. I don't think a lot of people know that Alex Hormozy just has an entire team around him analyzing his tweets every fucking day and then turning them into short form and long form and overall strategy and seeing what actually resonates, because you just never know what's going to hit. I wrote poems, I wrote long form, I wrote threads, I wrote short ones. Some of my most viral shit is just like a picture I fucking post from some discreet, little known textbook. It's literally what's happening right now is I'm going viral from yesterday from just a picture I posted. And I think that you just need to literally go full auto on the timeline, and some of your posts are gonna, hit windows, and some of them are gonna hit people straight in the face, and you're gonna slowly build up this brand that is resilient. I think that it comes down to, actually, it's really fucking simple. Just fucking post. Stop overthinking it. Stop overthinking what your brand is. Stop overthinking what your message is. At the end of the day, none of that fucking matters, because no one knows who you are anyways right now. And um and I still feel that way, and I still feel connected to the um metrics. But if you make it about the mission and not the metric, in the sense of, I'm on a mission to put my voice out there and explore what this is, explore my authenticity, that mission, you like, some of you guys might not make it. A lot of the people right now posting on X won't make it. When Jack and I started posting on X a couple of years ago, there was a whole lot of people that were like, I'm in, let's do this shit. And then they crumble and they're not consistent. And it's literally just consistency and commitment. Because if you commit to, I'm going to be posting for the next 10 years, no fucking way I'm not going to post for the next 10 years. I'm committed to transmitting what's in my mind onto the timeline, committed, then it takes all of the pressure off of you going viral now, of you having the brand figured out now. Just post. I just encourage anyone, don't overthink it. Just shoot from the fucking hip. What's on your mind? What are you thinking about? Commit to, like, I'm going to post on X once per day. And on a long enough time horizon, you will not fucking fail. But the problem is 99% of people get all hyped up and they read some Justin Welsh or whatever his name is, or some Dan Coe shit, and they're like, I'm gonna be a fucking writer, and then they bail because they don't have what it takes, because they're not consistent. They don't actually want it. And you have to really reckon with yourself, like, some of you don't want it enough. And is that you or is that not you? And you have to be real as fuck with yourself, because it's not easy. You don't get to just do some hacks and write some hooks and suddenly it works. This is like going to be a metamorphosis of your entire being into a creator. And you have to start thinking like one, acting like one, practicing what you preach. And then it's interwoven with your relationship to God to such a degree that you can't get away from it. Your shadow, the things that are not true, the things that are not in alignment, the places you're not free inside of yourself, they're going to be glaringly obvious. And basically, you have to be able to peer into your own shadow, and you have to be willing to fucking post every day for the next 10 years, or maybe you shouldn't even bother.
Banger.
Wow.
I wanna give a few quick points there. What was coming through for me, there's a few things, but I'll start with Dan Coe actually. So Dan had a mental model that at the beginning of the game for me was really, really powerful to hear. He said it on some niche podcast with like 1,000 views, but he was like, you have to adopt the mentality that if you don't post, you die. Right? Of course, it's not literally literal death, it's metaphorical death of your account. But that was the mindset that I kept top of mind every single day during the start of my journey, until the point where it just becomes a natural extension of who you are. So like right now at this point, it's not hard for me to post on Twitter. There's no resistance. Like I love it. It just happens in the moment. But in the beginning, because you're going through an identity shift, you're alchemizing the old self into the new self, you have to set this new baseline standard of output for your new level of identity. Meaning, you have to set a non negotiable thing with yourself, and it can only be with yourself. And as Nick said, it has to be between you and God. Like, an outside person can be cool to hold you accountable, like a coach or a mentor or a therapist or a group of people, but ultimately you have to be the one to hold yourself accountable and you have to know why you're doing this. So there'd be days in the beginning where I'm like, fuck, I have so much resistance to posting. I'm overthinking. I don't know what to say. Does anybody care? Is this even worth it? And then I would zoom out and say, okay, my vision is somehow through social media, and I don't know how I'm going to monetize yet. And we're going to get into this later in this conversation. But I know that social media in some way and writing online and growing an audience and building a network is going to lead to me not having to work a 9 to 5 job. And I zoomed out 2 years after college and I saw that that was gonna be my reality if I didn't commit to this game. And so that forcing function, that almost anti-vision or fear of I don't wanna work a job, that propelled me to create every day. And now the second point here is that momentum is more important than creating the perfect content. Creating momentum is more important than creating the perfect content. And what I mean by that is not momentum externally with likes and views and followers. None of that actually matters in the beginning. What matters is internally metamorphosizing your identity to the point of seeing yourself as a writer, as a creator, and as a speaker through the compounding act of posting every day. You can look at it from a physics standpoint, right? What is it? Newton's first law, I think it is, or third law. It's like an object in motion tends to stay in motion. An object at rest tends to stay at rest. So when you're starting from the beginning and you don't have any momentum, it takes a lot of force and willpower to get yourself to sit down at the computer or get on your phone and write the tweet because you don't have momentum. You don't have energetic momentum from doing the thing every day. But once you're in motion, once you start posting every day, it's a non-negotiable. You can't go to sleep at night unless you post something. I even recommend do it first thing in the morning. Now you have momentum. Now everything becomes easier. And the longer you stay in the arena, you get onto a space like this and you talk to Nick and Jesse and myself, and you talk to the people who have already done things and monetized and built a brand. Now you're picking up all this little nuanced, specific knowledge about the space. You're picking up specific knowledge about business. You're learning what the market is like and what the market wants, and you're learning what your unique skill set is. And then from there, monetization becomes easy if you know how to give value to people, but it comes from the consistent compounding momentum of posting every day, showing up every day, and then coming to spaces like this and interacting with people, getting in groups, etc. So that's my ramble. Um, Nick or Apollo, if you guys have any other ideas, would love to hear it. If not, we could kind of transition this conversation into the topic, which is monetization.
I would say right before getting into the monetization topic that hopefully you guys can hear me. Hold on.
We got you.
So I would say that you have to give yourself permission to suck and you have to give yourself permission to fail
Oh yeah.
with your posting. Like you just have to be like, I'm gonna suck at this for a while. If you guys search based ethos in advanced X search and you filter by date, I'm sure you could pull up some fucking horrendous posts of mine that were just horribly written, fucking word vomit everywhere, chat GPT jargon, like nonsense.
I've done that.
And I just know that like flexing the muscle of regardless of content, what medium it is, whether it's YouTube or Instagram or written newsletter, Substack X, I think, and I'm very bullish on just becoming a good writer. At the end of the day, becoming a content creator is like becoming a good writer. And if you can get people to take action based on your written word, you hold like the infinity stones. And that segues kind of into the monetization of your written word. So you got to build the brand and harvest the eyeballs and figure out what your brand is and all that kind of stuff. But really, in the beginning, it's like, I'm just going to take a bunch of shots. I'm just going to learn how to write. I'm going to learn how to copyright. I'm going to learn how to tell a story and show, not tell, and actually emotionally connect. Like, no one cares how to do things, they care about why. People connect with the what when they know the why. So, why the fuck should people read your shit? And Why should they read this specific thing about this specific breath pattern? And it's going to suck in the beginning, but that's totally fine. And you are going to make so much more progress than everyone else if you're just like, I'm going to commit to sucking. I'm going to commit to getting better at writing. And then inevitably, you're going to learn what things hit from real data. You're going to have some tweets go viral. You're going to have some things catch more traction than other things, which act as signal amidst the noise to know what your audience wants, what it might be willing to buy from you, and that is then your jumping point to monetization.
Love that segue. So, Nick, for you, could you give some context on how you're currently monetizing? Like, what are the different vehicles and how that evolved for you from the beginning? Because in the beginning, you were anonymous, working a job, and then a year, 2 years later, now you're like hitting pretty big months and have a lot of leverage and a huge authoritative personal brand. So, how are you monetizing now? And what was the monetization path or journey like for you from the beginning?
Yeah, I mean, I think that everyone here should immediately, just today, create a high ticket offer because there's no reason why you shouldn't have one. And when I was first starting out, I was dinking around with these little affiliate things. I'm like, oh, I'm an affiliate for Shilajit and I'm an affiliate for this supplement. And I'm like making no money. Um, and I didn't have much exposure. But out of necessity, um, I was like, I want to try my hand. I didn't want to be a coach, but I was like, this is my best path to making money. It was that or ghostwriting. I'm like, do I really want to get like 5 clients that I have to write threads about fucking supplements on? Or can I just like get um, 1 to 5 clients at $1,000 a month and learn how to coach? And that was my first cash vehicle was this high ticket offer of breathwork coaching, mindset coaching, sexual energy coaching. I didn't know what the offer was. It was just like based on what the person said on the sales call. I'm like, oh yeah, we can do that. And like, luckily I had breathwork is very applicable to many things, but all of you guys here have lived a life and have a story and have had to jump through hoops and walk through the fire in different ways, and you've learned different lessons that can be useful. So I'd recommend all of you guys like write down or talk to ChatGPT, tell it your fucking life story, tell it about the dark night of your soul, the thing that happened this point in your life, the thing that happened then. What did you do to get yourself to where you're at today and be the person that you are today? And I guarantee all of you listening right now have like a $30,000 to $50,000 a month business in your head. The key thing is, can I make a curriculum, high ticket curriculum, where every client has a discipline that they have to do every day? For example, that's breath work for my clients. And they have a challenge that they have to do every week. The challenges are the things that I did in my life to elevate myself. So one of the challenges is like you have to meditate for an hour every day for 7 days. Another is you have to go 7 days, no podcast, no music, no books, no nothing. And I create these challenges based on my lived experiences, things that have helped me. You have to read the book Self-Reliance this week. You have to write a piece of shit letter. You have to write a self-love letter. You have to go into the woods for 3 days, no food, and do this meditation. All these challenges become a curriculum, and you can have ChatGPT create the curriculum for you, periodized out curriculum where you have challenges, and then every client has a discipline. And now you have a high ticket program that you can sell with conviction on the call. And that's how you escape, is like pumping personal brand. I know people that have 500 followers, but they have 10 high ticket clients. Um, there's no reason why you can't help other people. And perhaps there's a lot of different ways to do the info stuff. I was doing just coaching in the beginning, and I quit my job in oil and gas. And luckily, by the grace of God, had like 3 pro athletes come into my DMs, and I signed them all and was able to pay rent. And I was like, I'm going all out until the fucking wheels fall off. I spent 10 grand on a coach to teach me how to scale my coaching business. And that was all my fucking money to elevate myself.
Hello, real quick, the space cut out right here at about 24 minutes, so we restarted the space and we kicked it off from where we left off. So there will be a quick little intermission telling you about the Creator Economy Convention, and then we'll hop right back into the conversation. This is a nice little intermission break, I guess we could call it. And um, I guess in this little intermission break, I can speak briefly about why these X spaces even exist. So, Jesse, along with Nick and a handful of other creators, have come up with the idea to host the Creator Economy Convention in June of 2026. So, this is going to be a 3-day in person event happening in Vancouver in 2026. And there's a whole lineup of speakers. There's a bunch of really cool activities planned. There's an after party that's in the works with being planned. And there's also a digital virtual aspect of this experience too if you can't make it to Canada. So this is the origin of these spaces, getting the word out, building some momentum in the creator space, having these conversations, and hopefully all meeting up in person in Canada in 2026. So I'll try to drop the link here, but you can just look up thelivinginternet.com to check out what the event is like and to purchase a ticket if you'd like. And actually, through Cyber Monday, which is December 1st, there's a 50% off discount window for the tickets. So you can go check that out at thelivinginternet.com. And you can also join a free circle community for the Living Internet, which is also on that website. So I'm going to drop that link here in the space. I'll try to pin it, and yeah, we can hop back into where we left off. So I don't know if Nick Sweeney's going to be able to hop back on here. Let me see if he texted me. He's got a coaching call, but he wants to make it a series. Cool. So we can just pick up basically where we left off, and I think I'll be able to clip those podcasts together into one big podcast, but I think Nick was dropping a ton of sauce, and it's been super cool to see him grow from like when I met this dude in Austin 2 years ago. He was an anonymous account named Based Ethos with like 2,000 followers on Twitter. And now he's got 250,000 followers on Instagram. He's built a breathwork app with his brother, scaled it to 10K a month, and he's scaled this coaching business where he's basically doing group coaching and he has an assistant coach doing most of the coaching to I think about 20K a month. So it's been super cool to see his acceleration, and hopefully it provides a bit of inspiration too for you guys of like now you see Nick as this guy who has this huge following and super successful, but like 2 years ago he was literally starting from zero. So the upper limits to the acceleration you can have in this space are really unlimited if you have that persistence, dedication, and you really, really want it, like he said. It is true. So with that, I want to pivot it over to Nick or Jesse to see how you guys think we should most intelligently continue this conversation.
Well, I missed the first 20 minutes, but from the end of what other Nick said, he sounded very insightful. He definitely has some more financial accolades on his creator belt than I do, but a lot of the philosophies he was pointing to resonate quite a bit. But what if you tell me what I missed in like 3 sentences? I could probably come up with something. I know Jesse has been teaching so many people on the street that his voice is kind of shot,
Yes, I
or
know.
he's sick. He says he's sick, but I don't know what he's been up to.
Yeah, so essentially, we were talking about creating momentum in the beginning and setting a non negotiable with yourself about creating content every single day, giving yourself permission to suck, allowing yourself to have that time where you don't get results. And then eventually, as you get experience, as you gain skills, as you gain specific knowledge, as you build a network in the space, eventually you can pop off, you can go viral. And then Nick's philosophy, and mine is very similar, is build the audience first and build the product second. So Nick's main monetization vehicle is Coherence. It's a breathwork app. Now, that was not an idea when he started in the space. He started creating content around holistic healing, how breathwork healed him. And then once all the data came back and people were interested and he was growing an audience of people interested in this stuff, now he could build a product within that niche that he was already an authority in that solved a specific problem for a specific person that already trusted him because they were in his audience. So that's my philosophy as well. Has always been personal branding is the highest leverage thing to do. And then you can come up with different creative offers and solutions for your audience based on the type of content you put out and the type of people you attract. Another personal example is when I started off in this space, I had no idea I would ever run retreats. Now, I'm hosting my second Thailand expedition a few years into the game, and it literally just came from like me writing about my travel experiences, exploring Thailand myself, loving it, and saying, okay, my audience would probably like this too. Let me bring them on the exact same adventure I was on. So, Nick talked about this with like a coaching business or even a breathwork app. It's his own personal transformation, but that personal transformation can extend much farther and wider than you might think. So, like, I went through a massive personal transformation when I backpacked Thailand. A year later, that actually turned into a business play, which now is expanding into more ideas about how can we facilitate in-person experiences, including this convention. So that's a little bit of context for where we were at. Um, I also see Matt has requested to speak, so I'm gonna let Matt up here now. But Nick, if you have any ideas there, would love to hear anything.
The first thing that comes to my mind is I feel like it's good practice to sort of parse through the sub skills and also more personal background. And we could do for you and Nick because that's what the topic of the conversation has been about what skills that you guys may have developed without realizing it to enable you to jump so quickly into selling services online and monetizing online. Because I think that sometimes we don't clearly or consciously take full stock of how much previous experience we've actually had. So, like, for example, Nick said he started by selling high ticket coaching, and he kept his offer very flexible to whatever the people needed. What experience did Nick have prior to that that enabled him to effectively coach people?
It's a great question. And I think it hits on a lot of these sub skills that when I retrace the steps, I see them, but I can sometimes overlook. So I'll speak quickly on Nick, and then I'll also speak more on my own personal experiences. I could speak on it more. Is for Nick, I think it was his pinned tweet for a while, but he had this horrible ski injury where he like couldn't walk and he was told by the doctors he might never walk again. And he went super deep into Joe Dispenza. He went super deep into spirituality, quantum physics, and esoteric health. And he ended up healing his ankle in like only 6 weeks through the power of his breath. And so that transformation, and the doctors couldn't believe it, they're like, how is this possible? He was tapping into some quantum, like miraculous type of stuff that Joe Dispenza talks about. And from that transformation, from going deep into esoteric health, breath work for healing, nervous system regulation, and peak performance, as he was a Olympic trial ski racer, that gave him the knowledge, the credibility, and the authority and the expertise to actually coach people. For me, it's been a little bit different. So I didn't jump straight into coaching. And this is why I think it's valuable to talk about all these different monetization paths in the creator economy. I see two paths really, and there's probably more that I'm not thinking of, but I could group things into two buckets. There is the coaching route where you sell a desired transformation, you facilitate a desired transformation to a client. So you've had a health journey, you've had a relationship journey, you've had a spiritual journey, you've found inner peace, you've gone into studying some esoteric topics that can really help somebody's life. You can take that knowledge, package it into a coaching offer, create content, build a brand, learn marketing, sales, offers, etc., and monetize a coaching business straight off the bat. Now, if you're somebody that has not gone through a crazy transformation, maybe you're a little bit younger, you haven't had all these life experiences like myself. When I started in the space, I was 20 20 or 21 years old. I was in college. I didn't have any skills other than just like some social skills, maybe that were from previous life experiences. And so I didn't even think about coaching people at the time. The path that I went, and this is the second bucket. So there's the coaching bucket, and there is the skill service based bucket or the freelancing bucket, where you learn a skill, be it ghostwriting, copywriting, email marketing, website design, AI automation, client lead generation systems. Probably think of more in that bucket. And then from that skill, you bring it to a business owner and you get paid a couple $1,000s a month. So in the beginning for me, I began to see the path that I could take because I liked writing as ghostwriting. I was like, I can be a ghostwriter. I can sign a few clients. I can replace what would be a 9 to 5 income and create a life of freedom through the internet. And so the sub skills that went into me monetizing a ghostwriting offer in the beginning and making 7K a month from 3 clients and working probably 5 to 10 hours a week writing content were, of course, content writing, right? Knowing how to write content, knowing how to go to viral, knowing how to grow a brand, personal branding, making an aesthetic brand, etc. But also the sub skills were networking and social skills. That was the biggest thing that separated me from any other ghostwriter because I didn't do the outreach. I mean, I did a little bit of outreach, but I didn't do cold outreach. I didn't master offer creation. Um, I didn't master a funnel to get people into my email course and then sell a ghostwriting offer. I instead chose to go the personal branding route of I'm going to write about whatever I'm interested in. I'm not even going to position myself as a ghostwriter in the market. But once I grow my brand and grow my authority and also grow my network, most importantly, through a podcast, which became many of my first clients or referrals to my first clients, now, I was somebody that was writing about interesting things. I was somebody that was likable and trusted in the space because I was just a guy who was curious getting on podcast. And then once I came to the clarity, okay, I want to ghostwrite and I know a lot about fitness and health. I'm going to go to the fitness and health people in my network that I've already been friends with in the space from podcasts, from Twitter, from networking calls and say, hey, like I'm launching a ghostwriting offer. I'm looking to help fitness and health coaches grow their brands. So I brought that to people and then ended up signing clients probably within a few weeks of some direct conversations, doing some free work, showing I could get results, and then boom, signing the clients. But the biggest sub skill for me, besides the content writing and the personal branding, was actually the skill of having conversations on a podcast and making friends in different communities and networks. So hopefully that gives a little bit of insight into your question. But then maybe the takeaway for people listening is like, guys, your network is your most valuable thing. I know it's trite. I know everybody says your network is your net worth, but like, especially in the creator space, because it's such an economy that's based on trust, your network is going to be your key to all your connections. Your coaching clients are probably going to come from your pre existing network, either directly or people you know that can refer you to somebody else. Your ghostwriting or freelancing clients, they're probably going to come from people in your network. So expand your network in whatever creative ways are energizing to you. For me, it was connecting with people on Twitter and starting a podcast, but like you already have so many people in your network that you probably could work with in some capacity, either in a coaching capacity or a freelancing capacity. Think about your old Instagram contacts, your iPhone contacts, right? People you're in communities with. There's so many more people out there that you might be able to collaborate with. It just requires a subtle mindset shift of going from somebody who's just networking to like, I'm networking with a little bit of a purpose. I'm networking because I want to create value, add value to somebody's business or life.
Yeah, that's great stuff. I think those are the biggest key things for like the super beginner level because like there's a harsh reality where some people don't have a. I mean, I'll talk about this a little more in a few minutes because I think Jesse wants to say something, but people don't have as many micro skills developed to kind of like even just go to someone in their contacts and then be like, hey, I'm offering this service. And if you properly approach people you already know and say you're offering something, it's very, very easy to start working with them. especially compared to like random people you might meet online. But Mr. Jess,
Very good insights. True.
Yeah, I'll drop in for a quick moment. I really like what I'm hearing. There's lots of good stuff here. I appreciate the sort of breaking down that Jack is doing of different categories of monetization. And for me, as someone who still hasn't built a huge audience, my brand, the power of my brand is really more about who I've connected with. I've really vibed with specific creators and built some really strong relationships with people who are, in my books, long-term people, right? People who I think 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now, I'll be still talking to, still creating with. So that's really powerful. But in the meantime, in terms of monetization, my main means to kind of escaping from employment, I'm still sort of depending on the gig economy. I juggle different things, but I do web design. And, you know, you can charge $1,000 for a website that really is not that hard to build if you develop some basic skills that most people won't. So the barrier to entry isn't super high, but it's just high enough that, you know, most people think it's too technically challenging. So web design's really been powerful for me in that sense, also for launching my own offers really quickly, testing and iterating, experimenting.
Jesse, can I give a little bit of insight as well on web design? This was something, it was a
Yeah,
huge
please.
breakthrough for me. So for the first 3 years in the space, I was one of those people. I said, web design's too technical for me. I'm not technical. I don't know how to code. These tools are too hard to learn. About 6 months ago, maybe a little bit longer, I found a tool called v0.dev. So if you type that into Google right now, I'd recommend it. Look up V, the letter V, the number 0 dot DEV. So what this is, it's a $20 a month tool that allows you to vibe code websites. So basically all you have to do is talk to the AI and say, this is what I want, this is what I want it to look like. And I went from somebody who outsourced websites for thousands of dollars to somebody that now I have ownership over all my websites. I can iterate them as much as I want. When I have a new idea for an offer, like the retreat or like a coaching program, I don't have to go through this whole process of going to my web designer, going through a meeting. I can just make it because I learned the tool, and I didn't even learn coding. I just learned the tool of web design. So the barrier of entry to web design is much lower than you think, and it's much more easily accessible than you probably thought, than I thought for the first 3 years. But just wanted to
Yeah.
give that little insight, but please continue.
Yeah. Well, yeah, this is big because, I mean, I mostly use Cursor because I did learn how to actually code websites with HTML and CSS before, basically just before the AI tools got so good that it's almost pointless to learn the code. But I don't believe it's pointless to learn the code. I think that it makes it, you do become a lot more able to code very specific websites. Still like 100 times faster with the help of AI, but really fine-tuned exactly how you want them with pretty basic knowledge at this point of code. So I can give people pointers on how to learn that stuff, but one key point here is also that because it solves a problem that a lot of people actually do have, a lot of small business owners have struggled with WordPress and Squarespace, and they thought, oh, this is going to be simple building block website building. And then it turns out to actually be kind of complicated, kind of expensive. So when it turns out, oh, look, my method costs $0 in hosting and like $15 a year for a domain name, I can charge very low maintenance fees. I could charge pretty low costs to build the whole website. So there's a lot of people at that level where they don't need a very complicated website, but it's too complicated for them to do it themselves, and most agencies will charge them several thousand, whereas a low-level freelancer like me could pretty much build their site in a day, don't tell them that, and charge them $1,000. But what's happened is that people who know me come to me and say, hey, I know such and such person needs a website. Can I get them in contact with you? That's how most of my clients have come to me. So not going to guarantee that for anyone, but that's the point that Jack was making about your network, right? So there's two factors there. There's the brand that you build and the offer that sort of has a magnetism of its own, because once people know what problems you can solve for people, they start to notice who has those problems and sends them to you. So yeah, that's just a good point about how once you have an offer, if you have a personal brand you've already been building through just building your reputation online and offline, then when you have a good offer, there's already people within reach, people who haven't heard of you yet, but they're just 2 degrees of separation away, and they just start appearing out of nowhere.
Incredible. Yes. I think it's worth tripling down on that point of most of your clients come through the network. So if you're going to take away something from this conversation around monetization, one, have a clearly defined offer that's very tangible to people. Like Jesse's freelancing website offer is, I'm going to build you a website. Boom, easy. It's not super abstract, especially as a freelancer. Coaching could be more abstract. It's best to have a clear transformation if we get into the nitty gritty of offer creation. But the second key piece, in addition to a clear offer, is your network. Your network is where most of your clients and business opportunities are going to come from. Now, I see we got Matt up here for a while, and Apollo just joined. So, Matt, would love to invite you to speak or ask a question or share any insight.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Hello.
Yep.
Hello.
Oh,
So, you've talked about the mindset shift when it comes to posting content. And I'm wondering what kind of mindset shifts up and coming creators have to make when it comes to money and money beliefs. Because I think it's a huge part that stops people from actually monetizing.
Yeah, I love the question, bro. And the first thing that comes to my mind is $1,000 is not a lot of money. $5,000 is not a lot of money. I think especially in the beginning, for me too, as a college kid, like that seems crazy to think like $1,000 not a lot of money. Like I don't have that money. I can't pay somebody that. But in larger corporations, in businesses, for people that are seasoned professionals that have been in a job or a career for 20, 30 years, $1,000 is chump change. $1,000 is not a lot of money. So I think that's a big mindset shift that I have made of like $1,000 or even $5,000 is not a lot of money, even if it's your quote unquote high ticket offer. It's actually not a lot of money.
Yeah, and also in terms of like your personal need to live, if you calculate that amount, it's still not a lot of money. To Jack's point.
This is true. This is true. Actually, it's great you say that, Nick, because I did a podcast like 3 months ago with my business partner and friend Will, who I'm building Transcendence with. And our first principle of these 24 principles, and we're going to turn it into a book next few weeks, look out for it, is you only need $2,000 a month to create a life of freedom online. And that was another big mindset shift to make for me because we're so programmed to think I need a job that is super stable and gets me at least 60 to $70,000 a year. But if you learn how to create income online and you have this type of freedom, probably if you're at a younger age, you don't have a kids, family responsibilities, you could go to move to a place like Mexico. You can move to a place like Argentina. You can move to a place like Thailand where you're making $2,000 a month. You're in like the top 1, 2, 3% of income earners in that country. And you can live a very nice lifestyle for $2,000 a month. And so from that mindset shift, okay, I only really need $2,000 a month to take the leap, leave my job, leave college, and go all in on this and like take the leap and go to another country, especially. Then it becomes much more tactical and practical to say $2,000 a month, that's only like one client with a high ticket skill. That's two clients with $1,000 a month coaching offer. I only need to find two people in the world of 8 billion people to pay me $1,000 a month to create my own life of freedom on the internet. And then I can expand infinitely beyond that first iteration, that first pivot. So I think Great point, Nick. I appreciate you saying that. Those are the two key things. $1,000 is not a lot of money, and you only need $2,000 to create a life of freedom online.
That's great. Thank you.
Matt, what's your current business model?
I don't have one. That's why I'm asking the question. So I'm building the personal brand. It's going well on Substack, and now I'm thinking of monetizing the personal brand. I'm currently on the side doing copywriting, but it's not connected to my personal brand at the moment. So I'm in this kind of phase where I'm just trying to get all the pieces together and figure out what the offer is through personal brand. And yeah.
Gotcha. So copywriting is like the side business, personal branding. What type of topics are you talking about?
Creativity, unblocking creatively, spirituality, psychology, stuff like that.
Cool. So it's very similar to how I was at the beginning. So I wanted to be a ghostwriter, which is basically copywriting for social media, you could say. But my personal brand was not about copywriting, which I actually would recommend for your long-term evolution of yourself to not make your personal brand only around your freelancing skill. Do the skill, but don't portray yourself as the skill because then you box yourself into a niche and it can be hard to pivot down the line. So like what you're doing right now, Matt, is writing, growing your brand around more esoteric topics, creativity, spirituality, internal work, psychology, etc. on Substack and Twitter, but you are learning and applying the skill of copywriting. Now, while they might not be interconnected right now in your brand on the surface, what I did is you have your brand, you're starting to build your network. Now you go to your connections in that space that you're already interested in, psychology, personal development type of people, businesses that are in that space, maybe on LinkedIn or maybe from your personal life that you know, your parents, friends, all these people. And you say, hey, I'm super interested in these topics. I'm actually a copywriter for psychology businesses, for personal development businesses. And now that skill, you sign two clients at $1,000 a month or one client at $2,000 a month. Now you have your baseline income expenses covered. Now you can focus on monetizing your own personal brand with leverage through could be your coaching program, could be courses, could be books, could be audio libraries, whatever it is. But solving that first step of the equation of how do I replace my income, that gives you the freedom to then now, if you have one client that pays your baseline expenses, you could probably get their work done in 5 to 10 hours a week. Now you have 150 hours a week to figure out how do I monetize my own brand and continue to grow my audience. So in essence, the skill, copywriting, and your own brand, they actually are interconnected through your network. And you don't have to go portray yourself as a copywriter necessarily, but you can go to people in your network with aligned businesses and interests and say, "Hey, I'm a copywriter for these type of businesses. I would love to work with you."
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's some great advice. I wrote it down. I'm gonna think about it and figure out how to do it. Yeah, thank you.
If you
Nice.
want,
Yeah,
if
bro. I
you,
would say
oh,
first, real quick, Nick, first step that I would do for you is like make a list of 10 to 15 people that you think would be aligned fits to work with. Make a list of those people and then create a message that you can send to all of them and just see what happens. And if they're not interested, say, if you know anybody else who's interested, I'd love to get in contact with them.
Got it.
Sorry, Nick, though.
no,
Go
no, it's
ahead.
okay. That's more like what came to my mind when you guys were talking is it's more like indirect sort of groundwork type stuff, but I'm going to try to wrap it back around to like the last 2 points you made for the actionables. And I've been researching a little bit more about what sub-markets actually make up the creator economy to kind of put into an article that I could put in the living internet. And the creator economy is a bucket within the digital economy, which is huge. But the thing about the creator economy specifically is that if you look at the breakdown of the sort of revenue, it's not really tracking revenue, but I'm not going to go explain what I've learned about how markets are tracked and their monetary value right this second. The creator economy is said to be a $250 billion market that's projected to grow to like $480 billion by 2030 or 2035 or something. And you would think the way that we use creator and the way that we talk about the creator economy, that it's referring to online courses and freelance skills, but it's actually not. The individually sold courses only make up about 10% of that distribution. And what we're referring to when we say creator is actually closer to a combination of the creator economy, the gig economy, and online education, which makes up a much bigger segment of opportunity. But the reason I say that is because the other 90% of the quote creator economy and personal branding income is actually mostly coming from brand deals and sponsorships. And the creator economy as an economic entity is much closer to like being in Hollywood or trying to draw sponsors and sort of have a marketing tool than it is the service itself. So to sort of lend to Jack's point that the copywriting and your personal brand are intertwined, but your personal brand is probably not the direct money-making vehicle you're looking for. You're probably looking to do what he just mentioned with copywriting and start to dive more into that from a service selling perspective. In other words, your personal brand is like, it's a personal brand, it's not a service. So they're integrated, but
It's
they're
the
not.
advertising.
Exactly, it's the advertising. And when you look into how personal branding is counted, it's not, you're not selling your personal brand really. It's a brand.
Not yet.
Right.
Eventually, you might be right. Like once you have 100,000 followers and massive authority,
Right,
now you
exactly.
literally can just monetize yourself, right? You
Exactly.
make
And
a
some people
course.
may not want to try to actually do the public figure monetization route. They might just want it for
Truth.
the smaller following where it's sort of a vehicle for them to become marketable for whatever it is they're trying to sell, you know?
Correct. Exactly. And I think it's a great point. Like, how do you stand out as a freelancer, right? Because there's a million copywriters out there, but how do you stand out, Matt, as an individual who people trust enough and want to work with? That's where the personal brand comes in. The personal brand is the advertising, it's the digital resume. And then I've always thought about it long term leveraged orientation is, yeah, eventually your personal brand can very much become the money making source. But in the beginning, when you're trying to build a reputation and you're trying to build a following and an audience, selling a freelancing skill is probably a good first step unless you have incredible expertise in a coaching domain with a personal transformation and you can really get in touch with the people that need that work, which is also a viable path.
Yeah, and also like casually mentioning your offer to people that you even already know, not even people in like DMs or stuff. It's good to practice that too, kind of to get in the habit of it. But like, if you have any friends, Jesse may have just done this like last week. But like, even when I was trying to sell my first couple coaching offers, which were very flexible, similar like what Nick said, I would just kind of listen to what people wanted or needed and kind of adjust my offer based on my skill set. It's like you can float that you want to offer something and test people's reactions to it. You don't actually have to like try to hard pitch them, you know, but just getting in the habit of putting in your mouth, I'm offering something for money. It becomes a very good habit because you never know when that's going to spark a line of conversation that's going to actually lead to somebody wanting what you say you're offering or something close enough to it that you could do it.
Incredible. I actually really enjoy this of like having somebody come up and ask a question. I think it really directs the conversation well because we can go straight into somebody's exact personal experience rather than just kind of talk philosophically. So
Yes.
thank you, Matt, for that. That was really fun. And hopefully you got a little bit of some nuggets or insights to guide you on the next step. I also want to invite anybody else up to speak that wants to talk about monetizing their brand, or is stuck and doesn't know where to turn, or is just looking for some type of insight on the next step to go.
Have you ever watched Coding Jesus?
No.
I'm putting it as an intermediary, but what he does is he has like a live stream where he brings on people who are struggling to get jobs in tech, and he'll like mock interview them and stuff. And we're kind of taking the same. We could steal that, and
I like it.
we could bring people up on the platform, and then we could,
I like it. I mean, this is fun. I love diving into this stuff.
yeah. All right, who's next? Somebody raise their hand. Somebody pop up to with their
We
dilemmas.
need a courageous person to step up. If not, I know Apollo it probably is down to speak as well.
I'll go and I'll try my best to articulate, guys. Bear with me here. Um, my my personal um reason why I feel stuck at the moment is because, like Walt Whitman said, I contain multitudes, and all of us here on this space contain multitudes. But with me, I feel like I have multiple personal brands actually simultaneously existing at the moment, and I could flesh this out later in a post, but here's where I'm at, and I'm gonna de-anonymize myself a bit here. My very first foray into personal branding arguably started in high school. I uh I I changed my first Instagram account username to Coachella because I was inspired by Coachella, the music festival, and I wanted to go to that festival really badly. But I didn't, and I still haven't been at the time. But I digress. I just simply wanted a nickname that I came up with that my friends could refer to me as. So more and more people that I knew and know offline started referring to me as Coachella because, like Matt, I'm a music guy to some degree, but I don't know how to channel that. Um, then this is gonna be fucking crazy, but one time I still have this a Reddit account that's also called Coachella, and I didn't know this at the time, but I probably committed something blasphemous in terms of personal branding. I started a conspiracy theory, and it got picked up by the actual and professional author Andy Kroll, and I got interviewed for this book that Andy Kroll eventually put out called "The Death on W Street." It's not something I'm proud of because it involved a guy who got shot in Washington D.C. So that's my first pain point, I would say, in terms of my one of my personal brands. I've also been stuck recently because I've put together a little local benefit concert in my area called the Rock and Roll Benefit Show, and it's been centered around healthcare and the ever controversial abortion stuff. But I've had some contentious disagreements with my former friends because I don't want something like that to just remain local. A lot of people are hurting in the conventional economy, as we all know. But I also would like to have something. Oh, no, I want to scale it up and have the RO part stand for realizing our enterprises. On the one hand, that could give some plausible deniability because I know not everybody's down for abortion. I know not everyone I'm gonna work with is pro-choice or etc. And then also, I just care about other issues beyond the stuff, beyond abortion and the healthcare aspect. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not the best at articulating this verbally, but those
Oh,
are
you're
two.
doing a great job articulating it, to be honest.
Oh, thanks, Nick. Yeah, those are two examples I have where I just it's almost like I'm spreading myself too thin.
Well, listen, it's almost difficult to respond to what you just said
Yeah,
because that's basically exactly how you do personal branding and networking. And I think one of the things you might have to reconcile is that
yeah, that's
your first sort of entry point into that, I don't want to use the word political, but let's say almost political type of connection when you made a conspiracy theory might have left a bad taste in your mouth.
yeah,
But the mechanism behind that is kind of the same as when you go and connect with people in any given situation. So this is a very platitude way to say this, but
go
don't
for
beat
it.
yourself up over that,
Oh God, I do that too much. So I thank you for
You beat
calling.
yourself up. Well, hopefully not physically, hopefully just mentally, because that would be pretty bad. But don't worry so much about it. You can't blame yourself for something that you did like that in the past. And it's not that you were consciously necessarily out of malicious intent going and doing something bad, I'm assuming. I don't
No,
think people very often do that. I think you were experimenting and seeing what happened, and then it went where it did go. But that you have probably a personal brand is not like a set of rules. It's
no,
almost just a representative structure that comes out of the activity you're displaying. So all the stuff that you've been doing, the more you sort of open the window to it and you showcase it, the more that becomes a sort of quote brand from an external perspective.
that's a great insight, Nick. I do need to open my windows.
Yeah, Apollo, I'd love to give a reflection here for you.
Go
I
for
mean,
it.
just from hearing you speak and the diversity of topics you can talk about and the way you can articulate yourself, like your vocabulary is very wide. You're
Yes.
speaking on like very wide topics. I think the highest ROI thing for you is you just need to write,
I'm writing
and
right now.
post. Write because you have so much in your mind. You have
I do.
so much vocabulary and so many domains of interest. Fleshing them out constantly is going to order your mind and give you clarity on a path to go because we're not even really talking about a path to go right here. We're talking about ordering your mind and like reconciling all this under your personal brand. Just write a ton. I know it's like kind of basic shitty advice, but
No, no, I need to do more. I could always write more. We all.
write and get comfortable with posting and like who knows where your personal brand goes. Like some of the personal brands that I follow are the esoteric accounts that talk about psychology and spirituality, but they also talk about politics. Like there's no boundaries to what you can talk about. I don't talk about politics at this stage just personally. I don't feel like I know enough, but and I don't want to get involved in that space, but like there are
Yeah,
really no barriers to what you can talk about. And then this is where you exist at the intersection of multiple niches. You exist as a node in a broad network where you can talk about so many different things, and people start to look to you as somewhat of a thought leader in these different spaces because you exist between
yeah.
them. So just write, just write, just write.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, and if you wanted to talk more about this stuff, you could join the Living Internet Circle community too.
Oh,
And
I'm
that,
gonna join. I'm in the Twitter community. I just gotta click on Jesse's link that he DM'd me.
yeah, because the Circle one is free too. And it's good to get discussions like these going because there's a lot of sort of, I'm not referring to you when I say this, but there's a lot of toxic mindsets in the personal branding, make money online space, and all of these things. And right now, because I'm kind of jumping into a broader topic here, because there's essentially a collapse of the traditional education system, which
Yeah,
is actually a problem. I
it
know I've
has.
been, yeah,
I'm sorry to cut you off, Nick.
no, it's okay.
I'm like a direct casualty of
Yeah,
her
yeah. There's a
collapse.
lot of people like that. My own personal brand at the moment is starting to bridge a lot towards self-education, and I want to try to inject that sort of personal stance into the living internet where I can, because I'm just realizing, like, I was very staunchly anti-traditional education, hardcore, after I graduated college, because I was like, this was really useless. I didn't learn anything, so on and so forth. Now, I did learn some things, but now I'm coming to a little bit more of a balanced perspective. Like, there are good teachers, bad teachers, there's levels to it, but it's a problem that the traditional education system isn't working. And one consequence of that is that there's not very good education on how to integrate with society, especially in ways that are fairly nuanced, like doing business or raising money or starting movements or things like that. And those are things that you want to do, from what it sounds like, and you're actually doing fairly well, but there's not really anyone around to give you this sort of authoritative stamp of affirmation, like, hey, you're doing the right thing. You're kind of already on the path you want to be on. Your efforts weren't wasted. And so some of that has to come from almost a very sharp discernment and self-reflection, where you can look at your own activity and say, okay, this is the intention I had 2 years ago. How much of that actually created itself when I took my action, right? How much of that actually shined through? And measure yourself against yourself in terms of how well you're moving forward. And then don't be afraid to seek external knowledge from all sources, because a lot of the traditional education space has compiled a lot of very useful information in textbooks and through authorship and in libraries and things like that. So if you open up to all that, and I mean, it sounds like you've probably done some research on, previous movements or political movements or rhetoric or things like that, but those are useful to look at also.
I got my master's in rhetoric and composition, Nick. So I am very much um involved in figuring out, at least for myself, what what to do with my degree
Yeah,
and
well,
how to take
technically you're already doing something with it, so it's not bad. It sounds like you're doing a lot of meaningful things.
I appreciate that. I appreciate everything you said, Nick.
Oh, thank you.
Not to mentally masturbate, but
No, don't do that here. That's not this type of X space.
no.
We might get flagged. Unless it's Jesse, then they might actually change the platform rules.
Yeah.
But is there any, so just to keep it like a regimented, almost game show style, are there any other listeners that want to take the stage? Does Jack want to take the stage? Matt, you laughed. You could come back. You're not cut out.
Exactly. This is true.
Reaper, you might have a different problem after you've learned more information. That's usually what happens.
That is very true.
I'm just happy to be here, man. I'm just happy to be here.
Oh, we got Eric requested, my guy Eric. Let's go. What's up, Eric?
Hello, guys. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thanks. Well, actually, my question is about where will you invest your money to attract more clients? I'm in a position where I kind of like know my offer. I know how I want to help people in on X, and I don't know if it's a good idea to invest in a mentor or in a software or anything like that, because I'm kind of like a little bit not tired, but I feel that I know what I should do: reach out, grow my network, post every day, and keep creating. So where will you invest your money to accelerate your process in the early stages?
Well, first, what's your offer or what business do you want to build?
Okay, I'm doing a brand diagnostic where I audit brands, and basically I focus on what patterns I found in their post, if they're aligned with their buyers and with their offer. So that's kind of like my lead magnet. And after that, I sell the how to craft good messages to attract the buyer persona, and of course selling their offers and their products.
Okay. So you're basically doing business coaching through
More like a
personal branding and content.
marketing strategy.
Okay.
I know the exact like precise place to spend your money, Jack. Do you want it? Do you have do you have like a quick draw answer, or do you want my first thought?
Curious to your thought. My quick answer is I don't know if you necessarily need to go spend more money. I think you need to go get some people some results, potentially for free. And then from there, you use those testimonials and now you can really make some money. I don't see a direct way to invest money to make this happen, but maybe Nick has some ideas.
Okay, well, what Jack said is a very important caveat to what I'm about to say. It
Mm-hmm.
if you can't currently get good results, then you could just apply what he said or what you've heard so far, or what I'm about to say, to doing free work until you develop the skill. And as you do free work, you might find your skill or what you want to do actually changes as you do it. But I would say if you really wanted to invest money, communities are a fantastic place to find people that will either be open to free work or potentially where you can find clients. So, for example, like I met Jesse and the other people organizing this through one of Dan Coe's communities. And they're not that expensive. I think, they're usually between $20 to $50 a month. And you meet a bunch of people who are essentially very close in your space that are very open to exchanging like services for testimonials, or even who might be a little more advanced and have some money to pay you a smaller amount for your services if you're just starting out. So I think communities, if I had to name something you could invest money in that would bring you very close to that point.
So how many testimonials do you think it's a good amount to give it for free?
Well, testimonials, the thing is, it's more important that people, I mean, Jack, someone should debate me on this when I say this, because this is a very definitive way I'm saying this, but it might not be the most accurate. I think it's more important that people would be happy to refer you through word of mouth than creating a web page that's going to convert people on its own,
I would
right?
agree. I will not debate you. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, he's not debating me. There's your double, because the temptation is this. This is what my sort of sense is on it, and what I was struggling with for a while before I had any clients that I was able to get, is that there's a temptation to hide away from actually doing like one-on-one sales and trying to sell someone a service. And the temptation that comes with is, how do I design a web page? This might not be exactly what you're experiencing, right? But the temptation that comes with is, how do I design a web page where I don't really have direct contact as much, but it converts them anyway? And I think what that's doing is it's removing the meat from what actually would make that work.
Yes, that's completely what I'm thinking as well. Like, why will I invest in a landing page or another mentor or another like product to craft a compelling offer? It's I feel that I just need more traffic. I need more traffic to my lead magnet, and I was thinking and investing on ads. What do you think about that?
I don't have personal experience with ads, so I can't speak on it. But all right, here's what I see. I need your lead magnet to be more clear in your bio because I don't see it. I don't see a link or anything. And I think the offer needs to be much more tangible. I think it's quite vague and broad. Like, and I'm talking about like numbers and metrics. Like, I help you book 10 more calls a month with this diagnostic program. I help you add $1,000 a month to your business. I help you do this in this much time. And I would look at Alex Hormozzi's offer equation so you can get all the variables of how can I minimize the sacrifice? How can I maximize the perceived likelihood of achievement? And how can I make more specific metric-based claims on my offer?
Well, I couldn't guarantee that. Like, if I will say something, I'm gonna make you earn 2 times more or something like that, I feel that it's gonna, I feel it off in my approach.
Yeah, don't promise anything you can't do. But a question that is kind of pressing on my mind is how many people have you worked with, and what results have you gotten for them?
I got 3 clients. One of them is a paid client. Well, I got 3 for my lead magnet, and one of them is my paid client that I'm helping right now.
And out of those clients, what results have they gotten from working with you?
Clarity.
What?
Like, clarity. Like, I didn't know, I didn't realize this, but they told me that the 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 lead magnet or the first call that we had give them so much clarity to identify who they are targeting, what's their offer, what they wanted to build. And yeah, if you use scan through my posts, they made a testimonial a public testimonial where I replied to them. And well, yeah, that's what
Okay,
I've
that
achieved.
that is a good thing. Measurable. See, for landing pages and stuff, the measurable results are important. And I think what's happening, this might sound a little harsh, but I'm not trying to be harsh, and you can disagree. I don't know that you have built up enough of a portfolio, so to speak, to make a sales page work that way. I think what Jack suggested to someone else, and I think he said it, he might have mentioned it also, is basically if there's anyone you can DM, if there's people you already know, you could do something. There's a girl, Natalie, that's usually here that does this strategy. You could record a video sort of breaking down their brand a little bit or their profiles or whatever it is you do, and send them a video in the DMs, basically giving them value straight up front. Because what's working for you right now is the calls. And once they talk to you, they see the value. So I would say don't worry so much about trying to force that through a landing page or through a lead magnet. Just keep
Mm-hmm.
doing what's already working and upgrade that process.
Mm-hmm. All right, so it seems that I'm in a really good path. So I just need to reach out, like to make it in a way that I can book more calls. And yeah, right?
Yeah, I think continuing to do more of those one-on-one experiments and getting results for people, one, it builds up your reputation. People appreciate whatever stage you're at that you're able to help them with. If you're able to get them results, they'll remember that, or to add clarity that makes a difference for them. And maybe however small it is, they'll remember it and it'll compound over time, even if it doesn't lead to necessarily having a client soon.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the idea that we're kind of thinking out here is that everything you do contributes to kind of the overall impression that a lot of the people will have before they even get to your landing page.
Yeah.
Some people might get to the landing page and haven't seen anything else yet, and so the testimonials might really impact them then and there. But a lot of people who are probably your most likely prospects, by the time they get to a landing page, they've probably seen a couple of other things that give them a feeling of wanting to trust you and wanting to click through. That's my thought on what Jack and Nick have been sharing there.
Last thing I'll say here too, Eric, on this point, and then I want to pitch it over to Maya for we'll call it the final question because we're coming up at about 90 minutes here. Is
Sure.
every marketing consultant or brand consultant or funnel strategist that I've ever considered working with, I haven't worked with any of them, but everyone that I've considered working with sent me a very tailored, personalized Loom video, sending me a complete breakdown of my brand and funnel and how they could help it. So I think what Nick said about the record a video of their profile, make it super tailored to them, then people can feel your energy too behind it. Like that's I'd say the highest leverage outreach to do. It might take a little bit of manual work, right? If you're going to invest in something, maybe from this conversation, invest in Loom, invest in a Loom subscription. But let's pitch it over to Maya here. And Eric, thank you for your question.
Thank you.
And the conversation. Maya, what's going on? How are you?
Thank you so much.
Hi,
Eric.
Jack. How are you guys doing?
Incredible. How are you?
Sorry, I didn't hear what you said earlier because when you said you're gonna pitch it over to my app went off.
Yeah, I just said we're gonna pitch it over to you for a final thought or question before we wrap up the space.
Okay. Yeah, what's the living internet community like?
Jesse, you want to take this?
Because I know I think
Yeah.
Nick mentioned about joining a community like maybe Dan Cole's what's it called, Cortex or so. But like I'm interested to know what the living internet is like.
Yeah. So the Living Internet Alliance is so far a fairly small network. There's about 30 to 40 creators hanging out in there, and as well as mostly ticket holders who are going to be at the Creator Economy Convention. But you can join the community for free and access a few spaces and sections. And there's a bunch being built out that we haven't made accessible yet to the free community. But there's a chat section where you can just go in and chit chat with people who have already gravitated to it. And there will be a variety of challenges and courses being offered. Some of those will be paid courses. Like I'm running the Web Dev Rebellion. So there'll be a group of people going through that with me, learning my method of web design, and then able to interact with each other as they learn and ask questions and help with challenges. And so there will be other primary topics that are covered in courses and challenges. So different sales skills, the topics we've been covering on these calls, like how to monetize in the creator economy. So it's basically the focal point is about how to create a successful personal brand and create a business, monetize a business around it. So if you're looking for others who are also figuring that out in a variety of ways, then pop on in, poke your head in, and introduce yourself, and you might find people already start resonating with your journey, and you might find people who you can help, whether that means you have something to offer for free, like Eric, for to build up some experience, or you might already have something that you charge for that some of the right people might be around to help, but or the people who might be able to help you with the things you're facing right now. But a lot of it,
Yeah.
a lot of it will be a sort of free exchange of value, right? A place for beginner creators to offer each other, sort of like free samples of what they're creating, and to benefit each other that way, and then probably end up with a lot of testimonials and reference experience.
Is there a paid community you guys run?
Yeah, it's not really up and running yet. Mainly, the paid tier is basically people who have bought a ticket to the Creator Economy Convention. They're automatically given access to another tier of the community, and then VIP ticket holders will be getting premium access, which later on we'll have a monthly a monthly subscription fee could be part of the premium, but we don't really have a clear presentation of what that will include yet.
And outside of those, there is a free tier to it.
Yeah, the link, I commented on this space with the link. Hopefully you can see that. It's pretty easy to log in and go check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, appreciate the question, Maya.
Where you commented. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. That's really cool. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
God bless.
Thank you, Maya. All right, we got one more
Thank you.
speaker who hopped up here as the last question or thought. Tom, what's up, my man?
Let's go. How are you doing?
Incredible. How are you?
Me too. Me too. That's nice. So I'll be quick. I saved up like 5,000 US dollars, and I'm moving to Thailand.
Let's
And I'm
go.
thinking, I was thinking that it's a good time to like network and stuff, and maybe try to record some content on the beach and stuff. And I was thinking about this recording. Is it better to like focus on one platform only, or try different platforms and see what sticks, or just have one main one and then try maybe Instagram as well? And okay, that will be the first question, and then I have the second one.
Yeah, so my thoughts are I'm a big fan of going omnipresent, going everywhere. However, that's a lot at the beginning. The question I would ask is what platform energizes you the most to create on? Which one do you like to be on the most?
Well, that's I wouldn't say that it energizes me more, but I prefer X because it's not that big of a physical contact with the audience. It's not that stressful. Which tells me that maybe I should do Instagram, and I should record myself more just to hop in like the stressful environment. So yeah, I'm not actually sure about this. I actually think Instagram is better for like gaining new audience and stuff.
Instagram is definitely more friendly to like scenic videos if you're going to be in Thailand and traveling and vlogging. It's more geared toward like high quality
Yeah,
um,
right.
videos. But I think the easy answer is just try both because there's a strong chance you're going to be limited by your capacity. So like you might want to post on three platforms. It might be too much work for you, or it just might be too irritating to do and you might just want to do one. So I would try, you could try to do both. It doesn't really hurt. And then if it's kind of annoying, you could be like, all right, I'm just going to only do one.
Yeah, right. Makes sense. And with the monetization, I was thinking like I prepared already some courses to introduce to my audience and stuff. Uh, I was thinking doing Instagram Reels, and like which way is the best to introduce the courses to the audience. Is it like through maybe call to action in a reel, or just introducing the course as it is, or maybe through engagement? Or
So my take is in the beginning, it's going to be hard to monetize courses at a high level without a very large audience. And like you can get into tactics of call to actions, building a funnel, making a free giveaway, having a tripwire. There's all these tactics that can come into play. But for your brand, like I see you're a health guy. The fastest way to a full-time living is going to be one-on-one clients. And it doesn't mean to disregard your courses, right? These courses can be given to your one-on-one clients as the curriculum for their transformation. But
right.
personally, I would shift focus from I want to monetize via courses to I want to monetize coaching with my curriculums. And then as I grow my brand, now I can sell asynchronous leveraged courses.
All right. So maybe the courses that I already prepared, I could use them like some leads or stuff. So
Right, you probably have a
maybe
ton of content in there. You could give them away as free giveaways.
yeah,
You can just have them as the curriculum for your coaching program too. Like a big thing, it's kind of high level, but something that I've learned to do after years in the game is cross multiply content. So what that means is like you have your broad course, you have a bunch of different courses that can be splintered off into free content. It can be splintered off into low ticket or free giveaways. It can be given as a holistic curriculum in a cohort or a transformation. So you don't always have to reinvent the wheel. If you're going to start a coaching
right,
business, you don't need to go create a new program. You already have the content. You can just intelligently think about how to restructure and manipulate that information into more of a coherent, sequenced flow.
right, right, right. Makes sense. Thanks
Yeah, thank you for your questions.
for sure.
Cool, guys. Well, I've got to get going here. I've got a call in about 20, and I want to take a little walk or a break, but this was very fun. I really actually found a lot of energy in talking to you guys directly and like giving feedback and hearing exactly what you guys are building and going through and struggling with and the questions you have. It was super fun. So, the next space, if you guys want to join, I'm pulling up my calendar here. The next space that we're gonna do is actually next Wednesday. So we're going 3 weeks in a row, special Thanksgiving, Black Friday type of energy. So we're gonna have a space next Wednesday, December 3rd at 9:30 AM Central. Don't have a topic yet. We'll come up with something related to the creator economy. If you guys have any ideas on what you want us to speak about in this space, feel free to send it to me, and we would love to see you guys in the next space. Also, if you joined late or if you're listening to this later, this space and all of our spaces are also uploaded as podcasts on YouTube, Spotify, and pretty much every other podcast streaming service under the Living Internet Alliance brand. So you can go listen to the recording, or if you're listening to the recording already, you can subscribe to the channel for more updates. And then last little thing before we hop off here, and then I'll turn it to Nick and Jesse, see if they have any final thoughts, is the Creator Economy Convention happening in Canada is going to be an incredible opportunity not only to learn from some of the top minds and speakers in this space, but also to open yourself up to these life-changing connections, right? There's going to be hundreds of people there, all aligned in the same space. You never know who you can meet. One connection there becomes your business partner, becomes your best friend, becomes your wife or whatever it is, right? You never know what these in-person connections are going to lead to. So that's happening in June 2026. You could check the Living Internet Alliance, or sorry, thelivinginternet.com for more info on that. And through December 1st, which is next Monday, there's a 50% off discount on the tickets, and that's going to be the lowest price you can get your ticket for. So check out that website, The Living Internet. You can also check out the free Circle community on that website as well to join this network of like-minded creators. So thank you for listening to the Living Internet Alliance podcast. For updates on all future episodes, please subscribe to the channel and share this episode far and wide to other creators who you think would resonate. As a reminder, there is a 50% off discount window for tickets for the Creator Economy Convention in Vancouver from June 5th to June 7th, happening through December 1st. So if you want to come to the convention, if you want to secure your ticket, this will be the lowest price that tickets will ever be available. So you can check out the link below at thelivinginternet.com to buy your tickets and also to join our free Circle community. With that, thank you for listening to this episode, and we will see you in the next one.